Hello my dear students, welcome to Teacher at Home. Today class we are going to learn the third chapter, drainage. The term drainage describes the river system of an area. Look at the physical map. You will notice that small streams flowing from different directions come together to form a main river, which ultimately drains into a large water body such as a lake or a sea or an ocean. Area drained by a single river system, it is called the drainage basin. A close observation on a map will indicate that any elevated area, such as the mountain or an upland, separates two drainage basins. Such an upland is known as the water divide. Drainage systems in India. The drainage systems of India are mainly controlled by the broadly features of the subcontinent. Accordingly, the Indian rivers are divided into two major groups, Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Apart from originating from the two major physiographic regions of India, Himalayan and the Peninsular rivers are different from each other in many ways. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial. It means that they have water throughout the year. These rivers receive water from the rain as well as from melted snow from the lofty mountains. The two major Himalayan rivers from the Indus and the Brahmaputra originate from the north of the mountain ranges. They have cut through the mountains, making gorges. The Himalayan rivers have long courses from their source to the sea. They perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses and carry huge loads of silt and sand. In the middle and lower courses, these rivers form meanders, oxbow lakes, and many other depositional features in their floodplains. They also have well-developed deltas. A large number of peninsular rivers are seasonal as their flow is dependent on rainfall. During the rainy season, even the large rivers have reduced flow of water in their channels. The peninsular rivers have shorter and shallower courses as compared to their Himalayan counterparts. However, some of them originate in the central highlands and flow towards the west. Can you identify two such large rivers? Most of the rivers of peninsular India originate in the Western Ghats and flow towards the Bay of Bengal. Himalayan rivers. The major Himalayan rivers are the Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These rivers are long and are joined by many large and important tributaries. Along with its tributaries, may be called a river system. Indus River System. Indus River rises in Tibet near Lake Manasarovar flowing west. It enters India in the Ladakh. It forms a picturesque gorge in its path. Several tributaries, the Saskar, Nubra, Shyok, and the Hunza, join it in the Kashmir region. Indus flows through Baltistan and Gilgit and emerges from the mountains at Attock, the Sutlej, the Bias, Ravi, Chenab, and the Jhelum join together to enter the Indus near the Mithankot in Pakistan. Beyond this, Indus flows southwards, eventually reaching the Arabian Sea east of Karachi. Indus Plain has a very gentle slope with a total length of 2,900 km. Indus is one of the longest rivers of the world. A little over a third of the Indus basin is located in India, Ladakh, Jammu, and Kashmir. Himachal Pradesh and Punjab are the rest in Pakistan. According to the regulations of the Indus Water Treaty 1960, India can only use 20% of the total water carried by the Indus River system. This water is used for irrigations in Punjab, Haryana, and the southern and the western part of Rajasthan. Ganga River System. Headwaters of the Ganga, called the Bhagirathi, is fed by the Gangotri Glacier and joined by the Algananda at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. At Haridwar, the Ganga emerges from the mountains on its plains. India major rivers. Confluence of Bhagirathi and Algananda at Devaprayag. The Ganga is joined by many tributaries from the Himalayas, a few of them being major rivers such as the Yamuna, Gagra, the Gadag, and Koshi. River Yamuna rises from the Yamunotri Glacier in the Himalayas. It flows parallel to the Ganga, and a right bank tributary meets the Ganga at Allahabad. The Gagra, the Gadak, and the Koshi rise in the Nepal Himalaya. They are the rivers which flood parts of the Himalayan plains every year, causing widespread damage to life and property, whereas they enrich the soil for agricultural use. The main tributaries which come from the peninsula uplands are the Chambal, Batua, and the Sun. They rise from semi-arid areas, have shorter course, and do not carry much water in them. Find out where and how they ultimately join the Ganga. Enlarged with the water from its right and left bank tributaries, the Ganga flows eastwards till Farakka in West Bengal. This is the northernmost point of the Ganga Delta. The river bifurcates here. The Bhagirathi Hooghly, a tributary, flows southwards through the deltaic plains of the Bay of Bengal. The main stream flows southwards into the Bangladesh and is joined by the Brahmaputra. Further downstream, it is known as the Meghna. This mighty river, with waters from the Ganga and the Brahmaputra, flows into the Bay of Bengal. The delta formed by these rivers is known as the Sundarban Delta. The Sundarban Delta derived its name from the Sundari tree, which grows well in marshland. It is the world's largest and fastest growing delta. It is also the home of Royal Bengal tiger. The length of the Ganga is over 2,500 km. Look at the picture. Can you identify the type of drainage pattern formed by the Ganga river system? Ambala is located on the water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river systems. The plains from Ambala to the Sundarban stretch over nearly 1,800 km, but the fall in its slope is hardly 300 meters. In other words, there is a fall of just 1 meter for every 6 meters. Therefore, the river develops large meanders. Brahmaputra river system. Brahmaputra rises in Tibet east of Manasarovar Lake, very close to the sources of Indus and Sutlej. It is slightly longer than the Indus, and most of its course lies outside India. It flows eastwards, parallel to the Himalayas. On reaching the Nanja Barwa, it takes a U-turn, enters India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. Hence, it is called the Dihang and is joined by the Dibang, the Lohit, and many other tributaries to form the Brahmaputra in Assam. In Tibet, the river carries a smaller volume of water and less lead as it is cold and dry area. In India, it passes through a region of high rainfall. Here, the river carries a large volume of water and considerable amount of silt. The Brahmaputra has a braided channels in its entire length in Assam and forms many riverine islands. Do you remember the name of the world's largest riverine island formed by the Brahmaputra? Every year during the rainy season, the river overflows its banks, causing widespread devastation due to floods in Assam and Bangladesh. Unlike other Indian rivers, the Brahmaputra is marked by huge deposits of silt on its bed, causing the riverbed to rise. The river also shifts its channel frequently. Peninsular rivers. The main water divide in Peninsular River, India, is formed by the Western Ghat, which runs from the north to south close to the western coast. Most of the major rivers of the peninsula, such as the Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and the Kaveri, flow eastwards and drain into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers make deltas at their mouth. There are numerous small streams flowing west to the Western Ghat. Narmada and Tapti are the only long rivers which flow west and east make estuaries. The drainage basins of the peninsular rivers are comparatively smaller in size. Narmada Basin. The Narmada River is in the Amartang Hills in Madhya Pradesh. It flows towards the west in a rift valley formed due to faulting. On its way to the sea, the Narmada creates many picturesque locations. The marble rocks near Jabalpur, where the Narmada flows through a deep gorge, and the Dodar Falls, where the river plunges over steep rocks, are some of the notable ones. Narmada River Conservation Mission has been undertaken by the government of Madhya Pradesh by a scheme named Namami Devi Narmade. All tributaries of the Narmada are very short and most of these join the mainstream at right angles. Narmada Basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Tapti Basin. The Tapti rises in the Satpura range. in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh. It also flows in the Rift Valley, parallel to the Narmada, but is much shorter in length. Its basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. The coastal plains between the Western Ghat and the Arabian Sea are very narrow. Hence, the coastal rivers are short. Main west flowing rivers are Sabarmati, Mahi, Brahmaputra, and Periyar. Find out the states in which the river drains the water. Godavari Basin. The Godavari is the largest peninsular river. It rises from the slopes of the Western Ghat in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. Its length is about 1500 km. It drained into Bay of Bengal. Drainage basin is also the largest among the peninsular rivers. The basin covers parts of Maharashtra. About 50% of the basin area lies in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. Godavari is joined by a number of tributaries such as the Purna, Varda, Pranhida, Manjra, Vaiganga, and the Penganga. The last three tributaries are very large. Because of its length and the area it covers, it is also known as the Dakshina Ganga. Mahanadi Basin. The Mahanadi rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. It flows through Odisha to reach the Bay of Bengal. The length of the river is about 860 km. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha. Krishna Basin. Rising from a spring near Mahabaleshwar, the Krishna flows for about 1400 km and reaches the Bay of Bengal. The Tungabhadra and the Koyna, the Gatparva, Mosi, and the Bhima are some of its tributaries. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Kaveri Basin. Kaveri rises in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghat and it reaches the Bay of Bengal in south of the Kundalur in Tamil Nadu. Its total length of the river is about 760 km. Its main tributaries they are the Amaravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, and Kabani. Its basin drains parts of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. The river Kaveri makes the second biggest waterfall in India, known as Shivasamudram Falls. Hydroelectric power generated from the falls is supplied to Mysuru, Bangalore, and the Kolar gold field. The name of the biggest waterfall in India. Besides three major rivers, there are some smallest rivers flowing towards the east. Damodar, the Brahmani, Badarni, and the Subarnarega are some notable examples. 71% of the world's surface is covered with water, but 97% of it is salt water. Of the 3% that is available as fresh water, 3/4 of it is trapped as ice. Lakes. You may be familiar with the Valley of Kashmir and the famous Dal Lake, house of boats and shikaras which attract thousands of tourists every year. Similarly, you may have visited the other tourist spot near a lake, enjoyed boating, swimming, and other water games. Imagine that if Srinagar, Nainital, and other tourist places did not have a lake, would they have been as attractive as they are today? They have ever tried to know the importance of lakes in making a place attractive to tourists? Apart from attraction for tourists, lakes are also useful for human beings in many ways. India has many lakes. These differ from each other in size and some characteristics. Most lakes are permanent, some contain water only during the rainy season. Like the lakes in the basins of inland drainage of semi-arid regions, there are some lakes which are the result of the action of glaciers and ice sheets, while others have been formed by wind, river action, and human activities. Meandering river across a floodplain form cuts-offs that later develop into an oxbow lakes, spits, and bars form lagoons in the coastal areas. Chili Lake, the Chilka Lake, the Pulicat Lake, and the Koleru Lake, lakes in the region of inland drainage, are sometimes seasonal. For example, the Samba Lake in Rajasthan, which is a saltwater lake, its water is used for producing salt. Most of the freshwater lakes are in the Himalayan region. They are of glacial origin. In other words, they formed when glaciers dug out of a basin which was later filled with snowmelt. Ula Lake in Jammu and Kashmir, in contrast, is the result of tectonic activity. It is the largest freshwater lake in India. The Dal Lake, Bhimdal, Nainital, Loktak, and Barabani are some of the important freshwater lakes. Apart from natural lakes, the damming of the rivers for the generation of tidal power has also led to the formation of lakes such as Guru Gobind Sagar, Bakranangal project. Lakes are of great value to human beings. A lake helps to regulate the flow of a river during heavy rains. It prevents flooding, and during the dry season, it also helps to maintain an even flow of water. Lakes can also be used for developing tidal power. They moderate the climate of the surroundings, maintain the aquatic ecosystem, enhance natural beauty, help develop tourism, and provide recreation. Role of rivers in the economy. Rivers have been of fundamental importance throughout the human history. Water from rivers is a basic natural resource essential for various human activities. Therefore, river banks have attracted settlers from ancient times. These settlements have now become big cities. Make a list of cities in your state which are located on the bank of a river. Using rivers for irrigation, navigation, hydropower generation is of special significance, particularly to a country like India, where agriculture is a major source of livelihood of the majority of this population. River population. The growing domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural demand for water from rivers naturally affect the quality of water. The Natural River Conservation Plan, the river cleaning program in the country, was initiated with the launching of the Ganga Action Plan (GAP) in 1980. Ganga Action Plan in the year 1985. The Ganga Action Plan was expanded to cover other rivers under the National River Conservation Plan (NRCP) in the year 1995. Objective of NRCP is to improve the water quality of the rivers, which are major water resources in the country, through the implementation of pollution abatement work. It is river pollution. The growing domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural demand for water from rivers naturally affects the quality of water. As a result, more and more water is being drained out of the rivers, reducing their volume. On the other hand, heavy load of untreated sewage and industrial effluents are emptied into the rivers. This affects not only the quality of water but also the self-cleansing capacity of the river. For example, given the adequate stream flow, the Ganga water is able to dilute and assimilate pollution loud within 20 kilometers of large cities, but the increasing urbanization and industrializations do not allow it to happen, and the pollution level of many rivers has been rising. Concern over rising population in our rivers led to the launching of various action plans to clean the rivers. Have you heard about such action plans? How does our health get affected by polluted river water? Think about the life of human beings without fresh water. Arrange a debate on this topic in the class. So that's all about this chapter. If you are interested, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.